sudden gives us the ability to see what our naked eye could no longer see. And the world was blown away. They saw stars that they had no idea existed, and they're like, wow. And from there, of course, there was many adaptations after that. But a huge benchmark happened in 1990. NASA created the Hubble telescope. Now, this thing is the most advanced piece of technology that NASA's created in terms of telescopes, because it's actually a space shuttle that hovers the Earth 360 miles above our atmosphere, and it's taking pictures of things that are millions and trillions of light years away. And when we started to see the images that Hubble started sending back to the Earth, people were blown away. They said, my goodness, I can't believe what is out there. I mean, here's an example of a picture that Hubble took of us. Now, you can just look these up on NASA's website. They're there. This is a picture of a star constellation many millions of miles away that Hubble telescope has taken. Quite amazing. Here's another picture here of, I mean, I don't even know what that is. It's a star, or it's something going on up there that Hubble's telescope has taken a picture of, right? And one more, third one, while we're at it, that's another galaxy that, as you can see, many galaxies that are in the world. Now, when we really start to see what's out there, scientists are arguing, and they're saying, you know what? If the universe is for the habitation of beings, then the universe is probably really oversized for just us. And so thus they conclude that there must be life or must be beings on other planets. Now, in retrospect, just to kind of show you what we're talking about here, let me get my pointer out. This is the universe from National Geographic. This is our Milky Way galaxy right here. And somewhere just in the middle of that is our solar system. And if you look really carefully, you might be able to see the Earth. And we're like looking at this, and scientists are like, man, if really the universe is for the habitation of beings, this thing is way too big, way too oversized. There's no point that life would just be on Earth, must be on other planets or whatnot. And you know what? That does make sense, and I agree. If the universe was in fact for the habitation of beings, then it is way too oversized for our planet, and there must be other beings. But what if the Bible were true? That in fact the universe is not for the purpose of habitation of beings, but the purpose of the universe is actually to display the glory of God. Then all of a sudden it ain't that big. Then we look at it and we're like, well, you know, in that case, then it's not really that big at all. Genesis 1:3 says, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. And when God opened his mouth, light shot out of his mouth at 186,000 miles per second, which is the speed of light. And when that happened, it was so fast that, in fact, that speed is so fast that it could literally circle the earth 7 times a second. That's how fast light traveled out of the mouth of God. And this came out of the mouth of God, and when it did, it literally lit up the universe. Psalm 33:6. By the word of the Lord were the heavens or the cosmos made, their starry host by the breath of his mouth. Imagine this. God spoke, and when he spoke, the universe was created, and then when he took a breath, stars were formed. He just took a breath and literally stars started to form. He breathed. Are you hearing me today? God breathed and stars came out of his mouth. You're missing it. Man, I'm just trying to get excited here and you're just like, that's kind of cool. Please. And out of this whole huge universe that we're going to talk about today, we clearly have no idea how huge, in fact, it really is. We live in this tiny little subdivision of the universe called the Milky Way galaxy. This itty-bitty, tiny little subdivision, and the universe is so big. Let me just try and help you understand this. The universe is so big that we have to use light years in order to measure how big this is. You say, well, what is a light year? It's how fast light travels in 1 year. Now, we've determined that at 186,000 miles per second, if we do that for an entire year, a light year is thus 5.88 trillion miles, which is just under 10 trillion kilometers. And this is the measurement by which we use to get around this universe that God has created. Light years. And this is the main measurement. Think about it, man. In God's universe, the foot or the meter or even the kilometer. No good. Doesn't make a dent. The only thing we can use is, in fact, the light year. So we have this ruler now that is literally 10 trillion kilometers long, and this is what we use to measure what's in God's universe. And then we have our little subdivision, again, called the Milky Way galaxy, which consists of billions of stars. Not hundreds, not thousands, not millions, but billions of stars in our little Milky Way galaxy. Now, billion with a B. People don't understand how big a billion is. They think, oh, a million, and then you get a billion. No, no, no. Just to give you an idea of how big that is. A million seconds was 12 days ago. A billion seconds was 31 years ago. That's a big difference. Billion and million, they ain't close. A million minutes ago was 1 year, 329 days, 10 hours, and 40 minutes ago. A billion minutes ago was just before the time of Christ. Big, big difference. Let's go. A million hours ago was 1985. A billion hours ago, this planet didn't even exist. That's how big the difference is. And this is just our little galaxy. And scientists say that there are hundreds of thousands of billions of galaxies inside our universe. Now, this is a snapshot of the Milky Way. You're like, Nick, what are you talking about? Why are we learning about astronomy? I'm getting to a point. So this is the Milky Way galaxy here. Right? A snapshot of it. Now, let's just kind of blow it up a little bigger for you so you can see. A scientist said that if you were to count all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy at a rate of 1 per second. So if we're going to look here, and I don't even know if you can see it, but we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's like, where do you go? Down here, 5, and then like 6, 7. You know, it would take you 2,500 years to count the stars in our galaxy. 2,500 years in our one little galaxy. And isn't this amazing? The Bible says in Psalms 147, He counts the number of stars and He calls them all by name. Great is our God and mighty in power, and His understanding is infinite. Isn't it amazing how awesome God really is? If you start to think about it in this perspective, how awesome God is. And He names all the stars in the universe. Now, to give you a better idea of our Milky Way galaxy, this is a composite shot from looking above down into it. Now, just our Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years in diameter. 100,000 times 5.88 trillion, and you got the length of our galaxy. And we, me and you, we live somewhere right about there. In between two of these wavy things. You say, I want to live in a wavy thing. No, you don't. You will die if you live in a wavy thing. It's massive meteors and chaos going on there. And we live in between two of these little wavy things. And inside this, now to put that in perspective for you, our solar system, not our Earth, in this perspective of the universe, is the size of a quarter. I have a toonie here. It's the size of a toonie. Slightly smaller than a toonie, which is a quarter. Okay? Our solar system, in this perspective, is the size of a quarter, and the entire Milky Way galaxy, not the universe, the entire Milky Way galaxy, in compared to this, would be the size of the North American continent. Our solar system is the size of a quarter compared to the Milky Way galaxy, which would be the size of the North American continent. And in this huge galaxy, there's a star. It's not the largest star, but it is a star inside our little galaxy, and we know it as the sun. Now, everybody knows the sun. And around the sun, there's a bunch of balls rolling around it. We call them planets, but they're on this orbit that circle around the sun. And one of these suns is actually called planet Earth, the place that we call home. Earth that's circling around one of these suns is where we call home. Now, check this out. In 1977, NASA sent up a shuttlecraft, or whatever you want to call it. You can tell how primitive it is back then, called the Voyager. This is 1977. And the job was a one-way mission, and its job was to take pictures of the stars that it encounters as it goes. Its job was never to come back, but just to take pictures and send them back to the planet Earth. So that was its job. 13 years later, scientists sent a message up to Voyager and said, hey, we want you to turn around, and as you turn around, take a panoramic snapshot of everything that you see.